The sky was on fire again. Metal screamed through the clouds as alien ships rained destruction over the valley. Trees burned in rows. A once living world turned silent with death. Among the fallen branches and shattered rocks, something crawled. She wasn't supposed to be here. Her people had promised protection, escape, safety. But they lied. Now she was alone, bleeding, cold, and far from her homeworld. Her name was Alari, and her wings dragged behind her, broken like everything she once believed in. Alari's skin shimmered under the dust-pale blue with faint glowing lines beneath, marking her as a daughter of the Highborn. But now those lines pulsed weakly. Her armor was cracked. Her breathing shallow. The battle had ended hours ago. No one had come back for her. She tried to stand. Her body screamed in pain. The sound of distant thunder wasn't thunder. It was footsteps, something alive. Something moving through the wreckage. Alari didn't have the strength to run. She closed her eyes and waited for the end, but death didn't come. Instead, a strange voice cut through the smoke. "Hey, are you alive?" It wasn't her language, but her translator implant worked just enough to catch the tone. It was gentle, curious, human. She opened her eyes and blinked slowly. The figure was tall, wearing torn survival gear, face half covered in dust. He knelt beside her. "I won't hurt you," he said, holding up both hands. "Name's Cole. You look like hell," Alari coughed. Blood hit her chin. She had never seen a human in person. They were said to be primitive, emotional, unpredictable. But he didn't look dangerous. He looked concerned. That confused her more than anything. "Water," she rasped. Her voice cracked like glass. Cole didn't hesitate. He opened his pack, pulled out a bottle, and carefully helped her drink. The liquid burned her throat, but gave her just enough strength to breathe easier. "You're not one of the invaders," he muttered, looking at her wings. "Guess you're on our side." He looked around tense. "We should move before more drones show up." "Can you walk?" She shook her head once, slowly. Without a word, he slid his arms under her and lifted her gently. She winced. His movements were careful, steady. She could feel his heart racing, but his grip was solid. He carried her through the smoking ruins. Toward the edge of the forest, they reached a shallow cave. He set her down on a smooth rock and pulled out a small heat lamp. "You'll need warmth." "That armor isn't doing much now," he said. She didn't answer. She stared at him. Why was he helping her? Cole didn't ask questions. He just kept working. He wrapped a thermal blanket around her shoulders. He activated a signal jammer to mask their presence. He handed her some protein. Paced and waited as she slowly ate it. Finally, Alari asked, "Why?" He glanced up. "Why what?" She struggled to sit straight. "Why help me?" His eyes softened. "Because you needed help." "Isn't that enough?" Her people never believed in kindness without purpose. This was new. Night fell. The sound of distant gunfire echoed far off. Alari watched the stars through the cave's opening. Cole sat near the fire, checking his gear, occasionally glancing her way. She noticed something in him. Not fear, not pity. Something steadier. "Are you a soldier?" she asked. "Was," he replied. "Unit got wiped out 2 days ago. Been dodging drones since. I was heading for the evac point before I found you." He didn't say it like he blamed her. Just a fact, no anger. "You should have left me," she said. "Maybe," he replied. "But then I'd still be walking alone. I think this is better." Alari didn't know how to respond. She wrapped the blanket tighter and turned away, unsure of what she felt. The war wasn't her fault, but it had become her punishment. Her people had watched from orbit while ground forces were slaughtered. She was a diplomat. She wasn't supposed to fight, and yet here she was, scarred, grounded, forgotten. She looked down at her wings. One was bent, bone exposed under the broken feathers. The pain had faded into numbness. She thought of her father, her command, the council. None of them had come for her. Only this human did. Cole stirred the fire, breaking the silence. "I know your kind's proud," he said softly. "But you're not the only one who lost something." "Here." She met his gaze. "What did you lose?" He looked into the flames. "Everything. But I'm still here." Alari closed her eyes. For the first time since the battle, she didn't feel like a soldier, or a failed envoy, or a highborn. Left behind, she just felt tired. But she wasn't alone anymore. Cole reached into his pack and pulled out a small med kit. "Your wing needs more than a bandage," he said. She tensed. "Do you even know how to treat a highborn?" He gave a crooked smile. "Nope, but I can follow instructions and not panic." He worked carefully. Alari bit her lip as he applied the sealant foam and pain blocker. Her nerves screamed, but the burning eased. "You're not bad," she muttered. "You're just saying that because I haven't made it worse yet." She chuckled. It surprised both of them. Her voice hadn't made that sound in days. Cole smiled. "There it is. You're still alive, princess." Her smile faded, but something in her chest warmed. "Don't call me princess," she said. "Fair enough," he nodded. "Then what should I call you?" She hesitated. "Alari." He extended a hand. "Nice to meet you, Alari." She took it slowly. His grip was warm, steady. For a Deathworlder, he felt strangely safe. Outside, the sky rumbled again. The war hadn't ended. The enemy was still out there. But in that small cave, with the fire glowing and hope flickering between them, something new had begun. Something fragile. Something brave. Something human, asterisk. By the next morning, the storm had passed, but the silence remained heavy. Alari sat at the edge of the cave, her broken wing wrapped tightly with reinforced mesh. The pain had dulled, replaced by a strange weight in her chest. Not physical, but deep and quiet. Something she didn't know how to name. Cole was still asleep, leaning against the stone wall, arms crossed, his rifle beside him. Even in rest, he looked alert. His fingers twitched. His brow furrowed. She wondered what kind of dreams haunted a human who had lost everything. She looked at him and thought about what he said the night before, that he had lost it all. Yet here he was, still helping, still trying. That kind of spirit didn't exist in her world. The highborn didn't believe in effort without reward. Cole stirred. His eyes opened slowly and met hers. "You didn't run," he said, his voice rough from sleep. She turned back to the sky. "Where would I run to?" He stood, stretched and rubbed his eyes. "Fair point." He moved to the fire pit and reignited the embers. His motions were practiced, quiet, efficient. Survival was second nature to him. She watched every step, every choice. Humans were different, yes, but not in the way she had been taught. Alari finally spoke. "There's a relay tower west of here. About 10 clicks. If it's working, I can send a beacon." Cole didn't even pause. "Then that's where we go." She raised an eyebrow. "You don't ask why." He looked over his shoulder. "Don't need to. You're not safe here. You need help." "That's enough." They packed what little they had. Cole adjusted his load so that he could support Alari as they walked. She refused to be carried again. Her pride wouldn't allow it. But she leaned on him just enough when her wing ached too much. Forest was quiet but not peaceful. Burnt trees reached toward the sky like broken fingers. The air smelled of ash. Occasionally, a drone passed overhead. Cole would pull Alari under cover without hesitation, like a shield between her and the sky. They traveled in silence for the first few hours. Then Alari asked, "Did your people know we weren't all part of the invasion?" Cole didn't stop moving. Some did. Most didn't. Fear moves faster than facts. That answer stung, but it was honest. Her people had done The same, when the humans struck back, the Highborn called them savages, monsters. She had believed it too. Until now, they reached a ridge. Below, a twisted wreckage of metal covered the valley floor. The tower stood beyond it. Damaged but upright, smoke curled from its base. Cole pulled out his binoculars. One active turret, eastern base. Could be automated. Could be worse. Alari narrowed her eyes. There's no way around. He handed her the binoculars. Not unless we grow wings. Her breath caught. She handed them back. That was a poor joke. Wasn't a joke, he replied. Just bad timing. She didn't laugh, but she didn't scold him either. The two of them descended slowly, step by step, over scorched earth and shattered metal. At one point, her foot slipped. Cole caught her instantly. His hand wrapped around hers like steel. They reached the outer ring of the wreckage. Cole scanned the area and pointed to a collapsed walkway. We can use that to get close. Stay behind me. If the turret powers up, hit the dirt. They moved like shadows, slow and silent. The heat from broken energy cores still lingered. Alari's head pounded. The pain in her wing pulsed harder. But she kept moving. Because he was moving. Halfway through the wreckage, the turret clicked. Cole froze. Alari held her breath. The barrel twitched. Then it stopped. It's blind, Cole whispered. Power's fading. But we need to move fast. They rushed forward. The ground shook beneath their feet. Alari stumbled. The turret sparked, then collapsed on itself in a burst of static. Cole looked back. You all right? Still breathing, she said. Good enough. They reached the base of the relay. The door was sealed. Alari placed her hand on the surface and winced. Her interface was weak. I can't open it from here. The panel's too damaged. Cole examined the wiring. Let me try something. He pulled out a compact toolkit and began stripping the outer layer. Alari sat down, her energy drained. She watched him work. Each move was precise, focused. She had seen engineers before. None this calm under pressure. The door hissed open. Dust poured out. Cole stepped back and motioned her forward. Ladies first. Alari rolled her eyes. Your customs are strange. You get used to them, he said. Inside, the station was dark, but intact. Emergency power hummed weakly. Alari found the beacon controls and slumped into the seat. She plugged in and winced. It'll take a few minutes to stabilize the signal, Cole nodded. He walked the perimeter, checking corners, clearing debris. Always alert. Always moving. She watched him. And for the first time, she didn't feel alone in the fight. The console beeped. Alari's eyes lit up. Signal's live. But it's weak. I don't know if anyone's listening. Cole crouched beside her. Then we keep trying. You've made it this far. She looked at him. Really looked. The dirt on his face. The burn marks on his jacket. The silent strength behind his tired eyes. He wasn't just helping her. He was surviving with her. You said your name was Cole, she said. Do you have a family? His eyes didn't change. Had. Earth's gone. My unit was my family. Now it's just me. And you. That word settled between them. You. Her. Together in this mess of smoke and metal. She didn't know what it meant yet. But it didn't feel like weakness anymore. Hours passed. No response came through the relay. Alari's shoulders slumped. Maybe they left. Maybe they don't care. Cole leaned back. Or maybe the sky's just too loud today. We try again tomorrow, she nodded. Not because she believed it, but because she needed to. He reached into his bag and handed her a small metal pendant. What is this? She asked. Dog tag, he said, from a friend. He said if you find someone worth trusting, you pass it on. She held it tightly. It was old, scratched, but warm in her hand. Why give it to me? She asked. Because I think I was meant to find you, he said. Alari didn't answer. She didn't need to. The silence spoke louder than words. Outside, the stars blinked. Into view again. The war still raged in distant skies. But here, in the heart of the broken relay tower, hope began to pulse in two lonely hearts that had no reason to trust and every reason to keep walking. They weren't soldiers now. They weren't enemies. They were survivors. Together. Asterisk. The wind howled through the open cracks in the relay tower's ceiling. Alari sat cross-legged, eyes fixed on the dull light blinking from the console. It pulsed every few seconds, weak and inconsistent. Still, she stayed there, unwilling to give up the signal. Cole was outside, keeping watch. She could hear his boots crunch on the metal floor as he moved in steady loops around the perimeter. He had not complained once. Not when the power flickered. Not when the food ran low. Not even when his injured leg started to slow him down. She noticed it earlier. He limped slightly, favoring one side. But he kept walking, guarding her like a sentinel. Alari adjusted the transmitter's frequency again. The screen flashed, rejected her input, and reset. Her fingers trembled with frustration. Her implants were damaged. Her people might have left orbit. She was beginning to feel the familiar grip of despair. Cole stepped inside, brushing soot from his jacket. He raised an eyebrow. Any luck? She shook her head. The storm's interfering. And this model was outdated even before your species launched satellites. He grinned. So it's ancient tech. Great. Guess I'll have to build a better antenna out of sticks and hope. She tilted her head. That would never work. It wouldn't, he said, laughing. But I had to try and make you smile. She didn't smile, but her shoulders relaxed. That was enough. Later that evening, the tower's emergency lighting dimmed again. Power reserves were dropping. Cole laid out what supplies they had left. A cracked ration pack. Half a bottle of clean water. A few rounds for his rifle. No med gel. No working coms. And no promise of rescue. We can't stay here, he said. Alari nodded. I agree. There's a research outpost northeast. Abandoned now, but it had long-range transmission equipment. He studied her face. How far? 12 kilometers. She said, over uneven ground. Cole didn't hesitate. We leave at first light. They both lay on opposite ends of the tower floor, wrapped in thin thermal blankets. The cold bit through everything. Cole stayed awake longer than she realized. Listening. Watching. He wasn't just protecting her. He was afraid of the dark too. The next morning, clouds rolled low over the shattered trees as they walked. The forest looked like it had been clawed by giants. Burnt trunks stood like black bones. The wind carried the smell of melted alloy and something darker beneath. Cole moved ahead, scanning for movement. Alari followed, her injured wing strapped tightly to her side. Every few steps she stumbled. And every time, his hand was there. To steady her, wordless, constant, they reached a river carved from runoff and ash. The old bridge had collapsed, and water rushed beneath the jagged stone. Alari frowned. There used to be a crossing here. Cole studied the current. We swim, we die. So we find another way. They followed the river upstream until they found a fallen tree lodged across the gap. It looked unstable. Cole tested it with one foot. It creaked but held. I'll go first. If I fall, don't follow. He crossed carefully, arms stretched for balance. At one point, the bark cracked beneath him. Alari held her breath, but he made it across. He turned and nodded. Her turn. She stepped onto the trunk. The wind picked up, pushing against her. Her broken wing threw off her balance. She swayed. She froze. Cole reached out. Just look at me. Don't look down. You've got this. She didn't believe him, but she listened. Step by step she moved. When she finally reached him, her knees gave out. He caught her. For a moment, they stood. That way. Breathing hard, alive, the outpost appeared just before sunset. It was mostly intact. A metal dome half buried in ash and overgrowth, solar panels shattered, the main door ajar. Cole raised his rifle. "Stay close," they entered cautiously. Inside, it smelled of dust and old power cells. Terminals flickered faintly. Alari moved toward the control node. She connected her implant. A surge of static ran through her skull. She gritted her teeth and pushed through the pain. The system was damaged but responsive. "I can boost a signal from here," she said. Cole watched the door. "Do it. I'll watch the hall." His voice was calm, but tight. He felt something coming. Alari uploaded her identification code. The console responded with 3 loud beeps, then silence. "The antenna array is partially functional," she said. "I need 10 minutes, Cole nodded. "You have 9. Footsteps echoed outside. Not Cole's. He turned toward the entrance, gun raised. A shadow passed across the doorway. Then another. Drones. At least 3. He'd pulled back the charging. Bolton aimed. Alari didn't look up. Her fingers flew across the panel. "Do not stop me," she whispered. "No matter what happens." The drones entered. Black and angular with pulsing red optics, Cole fired. The first shot dropped one. The second clipped the next. He moved fast, but they were faster. One fired a stun blast. He ducked behind a table. Sparks exploded from the wall behind him. He shouted, "5 minutes, Alari." "Working," she said. Her voice didn't shake. Her hands didn't stop. She had made a promise to herself. She wouldn't let him down. A drone rushed Cole. He tackled it, slammed it against the wall, and used his knife to tear through the joint. The machine sparked and died. Another shot grazed his shoulder. He cried. Out. Blood soaked his sleeve. Alari stood. "Done," she said. "Signal is active. Wide band call across all frequencies." Cole grabbed her wrist. "Then we move now." They ran. Out through the back service hatch. Into the falling dark. The wind screamed again. The drones didn't follow, not immediately. But they would. Return. They made it to a cave 2 kilometers east. Cole collapsed inside, clutching his shoulder. Alari worked fast, tearing cloth into bandages. He groaned. "That hurts," he muttered. "Means you're alive," she said. She bound the wound tightly. Her hands trembled. He noticed. "You're shaking." She looked down. "I was scared you'd fall, that they would take you." "They didn't," he whispered. "You got the signal out." She didn't answer. She just leaned forward and rested her forehead against his. Neither of them said anything more that night. They didn't need to. The stars blinked above them. And somewhere beyond those stars, someone had heard her message. Someone would come, maybe or maybe not. But the fight had changed. They were no longer waiting for rescue. They were surviving together, and that meant everything. Asterisk. Morning arrived without warmth. Clouds hung low in the sky, heavy and gray, swallowing the sunlight before it could reach the forest floor. Inside the cave, Alari watched over Cole. He was asleep, breathing shallow but steady. The bleeding from his shoulder had stopped, but the wound still looked angry and red. She adjusted the bandage gently. Cole flinched but did not wake. His body was exhausted. He had given everything to protect her. She felt that weight pressing on her chest. Not just guilt, something deeper. Something human. Outside, the sounds of the forest slowly returned. Insects hummed. Branches creaked in the wind. Somewhere in the distance, a ship passed low, scanning. Alari ducked inside quickly, heart pounding. The drones were still searching. She returned to Cole's side. He stirred. His eyes blinked open. "Still alive," he muttered. She nodded. "Barely." He looked around. "Where are we?" "Cave, 2 clicks from the outpost," she said. "We lost them," For now. Cole tried to sit up. Pain stopped him. He groaned and leaned back. Guess I'm not walking far today. Alari placed a hand on his chest. You shouldn't even move. He raised an eyebrow. Didn't know you cared that much. I do, she said without hesitation. Cole blinked. Her voice had no sarcasm, no defense, just truth. He looked at her carefully, then nodded once. Thank you. Hours passed slowly. Alari gathered nearby plants with minor medical properties. Cole showed her how to crush them into a paste. She applied it too. His wound, it smelled awful, but he said nothing. Just winced and gritted his teeth. You've done this before, she said. He nodded. Too many times. Humans bleed easily. But we learn how to patch it quick. You bleed too much, she whispered. But you still fight. And so do you, he replied. Alari looked at her hands. I wasn't trained for war. I was trained for peace talks, for diplomacy. You're doing fine, he said. Better than most soldiers I knew. That made her eyes soften. Even after I crashed the transmitter? Especially after that, he replied. The signal was out. Now they waited, or moved, or fought again. None of it was certain. But the choice was theirs. That was a kind of power they hadn't felt in days. By late afternoon, Cole sat upright, sweating but alert. Alari handed him a protein bar. Taste like bark, he grumbled. Better than nothing, she said. Barely. He chewed it anyway. We need a plan, he said. We can't stay here forever. She nodded. There's an old highborn bunker 5 kilometers east. Underground. Hidden from orbital scans. My people used it during the early phase of the war. He looked interested. Still functional? Maybe. If the generators haven't failed. If no one's already taken. It worth the risk, he said. You think you can make it? She asked. He stood slowly, testing his balance. Only one way to find out. They left at dawn the next day. Moving slow. Quiet. Alari supported him this time. Her arm around his back. His weight leaned against her. They didn't speak much. The forest around them didn't welcome visitors. It watched. It waited. Twice they had to duck as scout drones passed overhead. Alari held her breath as the red eyes scanned the area. Cole's hand rested on his rifle, ready. But both times the drones moved on without noticing them. By midday, they reached a cliff overlooking the valley. Below, half buried in vines and earth, was a metallic hatch. Faint lights blinked around the edge. Still alive. Still powered. They climbed down carefully. Cole's wound reopened during the descent. He cursed under his breath. Alari ripped a strip from her sleeve and tied it around his arm. You'll survive, she said. You're starting to sound like me, he replied. The hatch required her genetic signature. She placed her hand on the panel. The system scanned, beeped, then unlocked with a low rumble. The ground shook slightly as the door split open. Inside, the air smelled stale, but breathable. They moved through the narrow tunnel into a larger chamber lined with consoles and storage crates. Screens flickered. Lights hummed. The place was old, but not dead. Cole whistled softly. Not bad. Your people built tough bunkers. We expected betrayal, she said. From who? From everyone, she answered. He looked around. Any food here? Check the wall units, she said. He opened one. Rows of nutrient packs, sealed and cold. Jackpot, he grinned. Let's eat before it all turns to dust. They sat on the floor, eating quietly, watching each other. Not with suspicion, but with something closer to understanding. Their silence was no longer heavy. It was comfortable. Later, Alari activated the main console. It linked to the relay tower. Her signal had been received. A ship was en route. Time of arrival, 16 hours. Cole leaned back against the wall. You did it. She looked at him, We did it, he smiled. It was tired, worn, but real. Guess I'll get to see Earth again, or what's left of it. You miss it, she said. Every minute, he whispered. Alari didn't respond. Instead, she asked, what will you do when they arrive? No idea, he said. They'll ask questions, maybe lock me up for going off mission. Maybe give me a medal, but I don't care. I only want to know you're safe. She blinked. Why? Because I found something worth saving, he said. Alari looked down. Her fingers touched the pendant he had given her. The human dog tag. Cold metal, worn edges. A gift of trust. I'm not going back, she said quietly. To my people, not yet. Cole raised an eyebrow. Why not? Because if I return, now they'll see me as a failure, or worse, as weak. And they won't listen when I tell them what really matters. Cole leaned forward. And what does? She met his eyes. Your kind. The ones who still help even when it's hopeless. That matters. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. His hand reached for hers. She let him take it. Outside, the wind howled again. But inside the bunker, warmth grew. Not from the heaters, but from the two strangers who had stopped being strangers. From the moment one Terran reached down and lifted someone the galaxy had left to die. Hope had a shape now. It looked like both of them. Hours passed in the bunker without warning or alarm. Alari sat at the edge of a control panel, monitoring the incoming transmission logs. The beacon she sent had been acknowledged. A human vessel was on approach, but so far, no updates. No visual. No confirmation. Cole lay on a padded bench along the wall, his shoulders still wrapped, eyes half closed. He wasn't sleeping, just waiting. His body healed slower than hers. She admired that stubbornness, that quiet refusal to fall apart. You should rest, she said. Your wound's not finished closing. He grinned without looking up. Neither. Is this mess we're in? She frowned. That's not how healing works. It is for us, he replied. The hum of the underground systems kept the silence from feeling empty. Water recycled. Air scrubbers rattled faintly. A low light glowed across the ceiling, painting the chamber in pale gold. It almost felt like safety. Cole finally sat up. His face was pale, but his movements were stronger. Did the signal hold? Alari nodded. They should be here soon. Unless they're intercepted. You think they'll make it? I believe in probabilities, she replied. Right now they favor survival, he chuckled. Not exactly the hopeful tone I expected. I don't speak in hopes. She said, I speak in plans. And yet you're still here with me, he said. That feels like hope to me. She turned to him slowly, her expression unreadable. Then she said, you should prepare yourself. When your people arrive, they may not trust me. Then, I won't let them decide that alone, he answered. Cole stood fully now. He crossed the room and pulled a crate from the corner. Inside were old tactical supplies, dusty, worn, but usable. He pulled out a flare gun, a signal mirror, and a tattered datapad. Alari watched him. Do you expect trouble? I always expect it, he said. That way I'm never surprised. What would you do if they came with orders to remove? She asked. Fight, he answered without pause. She believed him. The ground shook slightly. Dust dropped from the ceiling. Alari turned to the scanner. A pulse wave had been detected in orbit. Something just entered atmosphere. She said. Cole picked up the mirror. How big? Human transport class, she replied. It's them. They stepped outside together. The wind was sharp and dry. The sky cracked open as a black dot grew larger, descending in a slow arc. The sound came next low and thunderous, like metal groaning against the weight of gravity. The ship landed 300 meters away in a clearing of broken trees. Its engines hissed as it cooled. Alari stiffened. Multiple life forms, armed. Cole glanced at her. Let me speak first. The hatch opened. 4 figures stepped out in gray suits marked with human military sigils. Their weapons remained low, but their eyes were sharp. One of them stepped forward. Identify yourselves. Cole raised a hand. Corporal Cole Vance, serial A967T, attached to Delta Recon Unit, Arc Drop Site 8. The man blinked. That unit was listed as KIA. It wasn't wrong. Cole said, "Accept me." The officer looked past him at Alari. "Who's the alien?" "Name's Alari," Cole said. "She's highborn, not an enemy." "She saved my life," the officer frowned. "That's not how the reports describe their kind." "I don't care about your reports," Cole said. "I care about what happened. She's the reason I'm alive. And we're here because of her signal." The officer looked to his team. "Secure the site. Check the relay tower logs." Alari remained silent. Every second, her pulse ticked faster. She knew humans were suspicious. Their soldiers often reacted first and asked questions later. But Cole stood firm between her and their rifles. After a long minute, the officer returned. "The signal checks out. Relay's authentic. Beacon logs verify her ID." He looked at her. "You're lucky we're the ones who got the signal." "So is he," she replied. The officer motioned to the ship. "We'll extract in 15, but you ride separately." "Security measure," Cole stepped forward. "No." "It's protocol," the officer said. "Then break it," Cole said. "Or leave without me." The silence tightened. Then the officer sighed. "Fine, but if she tries anything, it's on you." "She won't," Cole said. "She's already done enough." They boarded together. The inside of the ship was cold and gray. Alari sat beside Cole in the rear. The human soldiers kept glancing her way. None spoke, but none acted either. Cole rested one hand on hers. She didn't pull away. The ship lifted. Alari watched the ground disappear below. The bunker, the relay, the broken forests. Everything they had survived through. Now behind them, she leaned back and closed her eyes. "I thought I'd die there." "You didn't," Cole said. "And now we're heading towards something better." "Are we?" she asked. "Or just something new?" "Sometimes," he said, "they're the same thing." Hours passed before they docked with a larger vessel in orbit. The atmosphere changed instantly. Strict uniforms, cold stares, decontamination scans, security walls, but no cages. No weapons raised. Cole remained beside her through every step. He answered questions, gave reports, described their journey. Not once did he let her stand alone. After the briefings, a woman approached them. Her uniform bore the mark of high authority. "Corporal Vance, you are released from duty. Pending further debrief, but your account is verified." She turned to Alari. "And you are complicated." Alari raised her chin. "I told the truth. I did not fire a weapon. I did not attack your people. And yet many of your kind did," the woman said. "Then judge me by my actions, not theirs," Alari replied. The woman paused, then nodded. "You will be monitored, but not detained, for now." She walked away without another word. Cole exhaled. That went better than expected. "Alari, watch the corridor. They'll never fully trust me." "Maybe not," he said. "But I do." They were given temporary quarters. 2 rooms, joined by a narrow hall. Basic, quiet, private. Cole dropped his pack on the bed and stretched. "Feels weird being on a ship again." Alari looked out the small window. Stars drifted by like silent watchers. She turned. "What now?" "Now," he said. "We rest. Then we figure it out." "Together?" she asked. "Always." He sighed. She stepped into his arms and rested her head against his chest. His hand moved gently to her back. Her eyes fluttered closed. She didn't feel like a prisoner. Not anymore. Not when someone stood beside her like this. Not when a Terran gave her a reason to stay. 2 days passed aboard the human cruiser without incident. Alari remained within her assigned quarters, monitored but not restrained. The crew avoided her. Some stared, some whispered. Others acted like she wasn't there at all. Cole noticed. She knew he did. But he never left her side. He spoke up when they tried to separate them. He refused briefings unless she was included. When someone questioned his loyalty, he simply answered, "She saved me. That's enough." Alari didn't ask for his defense. But she accepted it, trusted it. There was something deeply human in the way he chose to stand beside her, even when it cost him comfort. The ship moved steadily toward the Terran reclamation zone, a newly restored colony near the border. Neutral space, temporary peace. It wasn't Earth, but it was close. Alari spent most of her time reading through human archives, learning, understanding. Their history was filled with war and pain, but also resilience, kindness, hope, they reminded her of her people before they lost their soul to hierarchy and fear. Cole entered their shared lounge holding 2 cups of something hot. "It's not tea," he warned. "But it's warm." She took the cup. "Warm is enough." They sat together, in silence. The lights dimmed to simulate evening. Outside the window, stars moved slowly past. Alari spoke first. "They still don't trust me." Cole sipped his drink. "They don't trust each other either. It's not just you," she nodded. "Still, it burns. You get used to it," he said. "Eventually, they stop looking at you like a threat. Start seeing you as someone who bled beside them." "But I didn't," she replied. "Not exactly. You did more than most," he said. "You stayed when you could have flown. You fought without firing a shot. You kept me alive." His voice dropped lower. "You made me feel like I wasn't just surviving. I was living again." She looked at him. For a long time she didn't speak. Then she said, "You don't talk like a soldier." "I stopped being one when I lost my squad," he replied. "Now I'm just a man trying to figure out what comes next." The console near the door buzzed. A message flashed across the screen. Alari stood quickly and read it. Her face changed. Cole stood beside her. "What is it?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "A highborn ship is approaching. They want to meet me." Cole tensed. "Did they say why?" "To retrieve me," she said, "and debrief me about my journey." "Do you want to go?" he asked. "That's not the question." She said, "The real question is, do I still belong to them?" The human commander called her in for a private discussion. Cole was not allowed to join. Alari went alone. The room was bright, clean, controlled. The woman in command sat behind a table, fingers steepled. "The highborn delegation arrives in 8 hours, the woman said. "You are not our prisoner, but you are our guest. We will not stop you if you leave with them." Alari said nothing. The woman continued. "But if you stay, you must understand your presence here changes everything." "I know," Alari replied. "That's why I haven't decided yet." She returned to her room. Cole was pacing. "They're really coming, huh?" She nodded. "Yes, and they'll want answers, obedience, loyalty." "And what do you want?" he asked. She stepped closer. "I want what I found in that forest, what I felt in that bunker. What I saw in your eyes when you didn't run." He didn't move. He just whispered, "Then stay." The hours passed like a slow storm. Neither of them slept. They sat side by side, shoulders touching, not speaking, not needing to. At last the time came. Alari dressed in formal wear provided by the crew. It wasn't armor. It wasn't a uniform. Just simple white fabric with a single silver stripe down the center. A symbol of peace. Or surrender. She wasn't sure which. They stood in the docking bay as the highborn ship approached. Sleek, silver, cold. It docked without a sound. The airlock hissed open. 3 figures stepped out, wrapped in ceremonial cloaks. Alari recognized one of them. Her uncle, Counselor Virel. He stepped forward. His expression unreadable. "Niece, you are alive. We feared the worst." "You feared inconvenience," she replied. His brow twitched. "You were not abandoned. We monitored from orbit. We saw no survivors. You didn't look hard enough," she said. "A human found me, saved me. Stood beside me when no one else would." Virel looked at Cole. "Yes, him." Cole didn't speak. His eyes never left the counselors. "We've come to return you," Virel said. "Your report will be received. With honor, your actions will be reviewed. You will be welcomed home." "And if I refuse?" she asked. "Then you sever yourself from the line of highborn," he said. "You lose your name, your place, your future." She was quiet. The humans nearby shifted nervously. Cole stood like stone beside her. She looked at Virel, then at the ship, then back at Cole. "I already lost everything," she said. "But I found something better, something real. I found someone who saw me as more than a title or a function." Her voice didn't shake. "I'm staying." Virel's eyes narrowed. "You would throw away your birthright for a human?" "No," she said. "I'm choosing myself." She turned to the commander. "If your people will allow it, I request asylum." The woman nodded once. "Request granted." Virel took one step forward. "This is a mistake." Cole finally spoke. "Maybe, but it's hers to make." The counselor said nothing more. He turned sharply and walked back to the ship. The door closed behind him, the ship detached and left. The silence that followed was deep and still. Alari turned to Cole. "That was the first time I've ever disobeyed an order." "How do you feel?" he asked. "Terrified," she said. "But free." They stood there in the bay, 2 beings from different stars, bound by a bond that no flag or council could measure. The war hadn't ended. The galaxy was still broken. But in that moment, something whole began again. Not in the name of duty or law, but in the name of choice. The sky above the reclamation zone was clear for the first time in weeks. Cole stood at the edge of the settlement wall, watching distant towers blink under sunlight. This place was growing fast, new homes, new roads, new life. But it was not the city that filled his thoughts. It was the sound of soft footsteps behind him. Alari stepped beside him, her long coat fluttering in the breeze. Her wing was healing. Not perfect, but strong enough for short glides. The medics had done what they could. The rest came from time and will. "Still watching the border?" she asked. "Old habit," he said. "You expecting someone?" "No," he said. "Just making sure no one comes who shouldn't." She smiled faintly. "You're always on watch." "It's how I survived this long," he said. "But now, maybe I watch for different reasons." "To protect what matters," she said. "Exactly," he replied. They walked along the wall in silence. The settlers waved as they passed. A few smiled at Alari now. Not all, but some, enough. Trust was slow. But it was building, inside the command post. A council had been formed. Humans and a few alien allies, not highborn, not official, but real, people who wanted to build peace, not declare it in documents. Alari was one of them. She sat in every meeting, spoke when it mattered, listened when it didn't. Her words were sharper now, not soft with fear. She had found her voice, and people had started to hear it. Cole took up a post as civilian security lead, not a soldier, not anymore. He trained others, taught survival, patrolled the perimeter with calm eyes and steady hands. He didn't wear rank, but everyone followed his lead anyway. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, the 2 of them sat outside the central hub. The sky turned gold. A breeze carried the scent of clean metal and blooming soil. Alari held a warm drink between her hands. "I was dreaming again," she said. Of the bunker? He asked. Yes, of the silence, the waiting, the firelight. Your voice, she said. And how I didn't want to leave it, he nodded. That place was where we stopped being alone. It was also where I stopped fearing death, she added, and started fearing life without something to live for. He turned to her. What do you live for now? She didn't answer right away. Then she looked at him. For the chance to shape something better. With you. A soft alarm chimed from the tower. Cole stood alert. A ship was approaching, not hostile. A diplomatic shuttle. Highborn markings. Alari stood as well, her fingers tightening around the cup. They're back, he said. Are you ready? Yes, she said. This time. They come with requests, not commands. The shuttle landed outside the gates. 2 delegates stepped out. No soldiers. No weapons. Just scrolls and records. They were younger than before, faces Alari did not know. She met them at the gate with Cole beside her. Alari of no house, one began. We come on behalf of the new circle. The old council has been dissolved. We heard your message. We saw your actions. We listened to the humans who spoke of you. Alari said nothing. The second delegate continued. We seek peace. Real peace, not decrees, but cooperation. We want you to serve as the first speaker between our kind and theirs. She raised her eyes. You want me to be a bridge? You already are, he replied. She looked at Cole. He gave a small nod, not of pressure, but of belief. I will. Speak, she said, but not for power, not for position. I will speak because silence is how wars begin. And I refuse to be silent ever again. The delegates bowed. They returned to their ship and left without demands. Only with hope. That night, the settlement held a gathering. Not a celebration, but a recognition. People stood in a wide circle under hanging lights. There were no titles, no symbols. Just voices sharing food, stories, laughter, and presence. Alari stood among them, Cole beside her. She didn't feel like an outsider, not anymore. A child tugged her sleeve. A little girl with bright eyes. Are you the alien who saved the soldier? She asked. Alari knelt. I did not save him. He saved me. The girl tilted her head. But he said you saved each other. Alari smiled. Then he told the truth. The girl reached out and touched Alari's wing carefully. It's soft. It's healing, Alari said. Like everything here, the child ran off. Cole crouched beside Alari. You're good with them. Children don't judge the same way, she said. They see who you are, not who you were told to be. He touched her hand. So what do you see when you look at me? She turned to him. A man who gave me warmth when the galaxy gave me cold. And I see a woman who gave me purpose when I was only surviving, he said. The wind shifted. The stars glowed above them. Peace was not guaranteed, but it had begun. Not from treaties, not from governments, but from 2 broken people who refused to let fear win. In the heart of a fractured galaxy, a Terran and a Highborn had found something worth fighting for, and it was not victory, it was each other.